Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear sisters and brothers, we carry on the discussion on the fiscal policy. Yeah. Previously, you learned about aggregate demand and monetary policy, and now we try to little bit discuss about fiscal policy. So, how fiscal policy influences aggregate demands? So fiscal policy here refers to the government's choices regarding with the government purchases, G, and taxes. So whatever government policy that related with the government purchases, subsidy, yeah, for example, and taxes is considered to be fiscal policy. And fiscal policy influences saving, investment, and growth in the long run. In the short run, fiscal policy primarily affects the aggregate demands. Yeah. And expansionary, similar with the monetary policy, in the fiscal policy, we recognize also expansionary and contractionary. Expansionary fiscal policy here refers to the increasing in government spending or reducing taxes. Yeah. So decreasing government saving. So expansionary monetary policy will affect to the decrease in government saving. And contractionary fiscal policy, the reverse happens, uh, reducing government spending or increasing taxes. So also called fiscal austerity or belt tightening. So it will increase the government saving because taxes here bigger compared to the government spending. Yeah. And when policymakers change the money supply or taxes, the effect on aggregate demands is indirect through the spending decision of firms and households. So the policy related with the taxes here will affect aggregate demand to indirect, namely the decision of the firms and households. So when the government alters or changes its own purchases of goods or services, G, it shifts aggregate demand curve directly. So the response of the economic players here divided into direct and indirect. Direct refers to the government spending, indirect refers to the consumers and business spendings. There are two important macroeconomic consequences of a change in government purchases. We recognize as multiplier effects and the crowding out effects. What is the multiplier effects? Government purchases are said to have multiplier effect on aggregate demands. So each dollar spent by the government may raise the aggregate demand for goods and services by more than $1. Such as now, in the midst of COVID-19, the government spent a lot of trillions rupiah to assist the people who are impacted much with that pandemics. So the government spending increases income and thereby increases consumer spending, which leads to the further increase in income. So the increase in G here, we increase the aggregate demands and increase the Y income and increase the consumptions. So ultimately aggregate demand will increase. Yeah. The next one here is the graphs. We have the initial aggregate demand, ED1. Because of the government spending more, it will shift to the right, AD2 and AD3 here. So it will increase the quantity of output in the economy because the aggregate demand increases. So the formula for the spending multiplier is 1 over 1 minus MPC. MPC is marginal propensity to consume. So the MPC here is the fractions of every additional dollars of income that a household spent on domestic goods and services. So the bigger of the MPC means the bigger the spending multiplier would be, because the more MPC, the more household spare the income to consume goods and services. So here, if the MPC is 3/4, the multiplier will be 1 over 1 minus 3/4 equal to 4. In case a 20 billion increase in the government spending generate 18 billion of increase of demand for goods and services. So if the MPC is 9 over 0, then the multiplier here is 1 over 1 minus 9 over 10 equal to 10. So in this case, 20 billion increase in government spending generate 200 billions of increase demand of goods and services. Yeah. So the size of the spending multiplier here, the continuous change effect described by the multiplier effects, works only if there's enough unemployed labor available. So the multiplier effect will end up creating jobs in other countries if people end up spending the incomes on imported goods. So the size of the spending multiplier here depends on the unemployed labor available, yeah, and also the the demand for the imported goods, yeah. Now we turn to the crowding out effects. What is crowding out? So the government spending may not affect the economy as strongly as predicted by the multiplier. An increase in government purchases caused GDP to increase. This increased the demand for money. Liquidity preference theory argues that the people wish to carry more money when incomes increase because the increased shopping. You agree with me? The more money demand, the more people wish to spend the income by conducting shopping. This caused the interest rate to rise. Yeah, because the people try to increase the money demand, so it will save the demand for money, yeah, to the rights, so it will increase the interest rate. A higher interest rate reduces investment spending and therefore aggregate demands. And these reductions in demand that results when a fiscal expansions rises the interest rate is called crowding out effects. So crowding out effect here is the impact of the increase of interest rate towards the government's behavior. So the crowding out effect tends to dampen the effect of fiscal policy on aggregate demands, because the in the midst of increased interest rate, the government try to reduce um, the demand for lending money, because the increase of interest rate, for sure the cost of borrowing will increase. So the government um, will tend to dampen the effect of the fiscal policy. Yeah. So here is the examples. So here in the money market, and here the shift in aggregate demands. Yeah. So you have initial condition here, and then the money supply, money demand increase, the red one. What happened? Increase the interest rate. So increase the interest rate here will increase the aggregate demands to the rights. Yeah. So and in the end, when the increase here, yeah, increase in government purchase, increase aggregate demand to the rights. So when the interest rate increase, the government also try to increase the spending. Yeah. So it will make the shift on aggregate demands here. Yeah. So the increase in aggregate demand here, yeah, will increase the spending of the money demands. Here, the second, and which increase the equilibrium interest rate, and the fourth one, which in turn partly offsets the initial increase in aggregate demands. Yeah, so it will make the here aggregate demand increase from ED to AD2, and it will make AD back to the AD2. So the crowding out effect here is make the aggregate demand decrease, yeah, after it increases, like that. You can just look at the sequence. So when the government increases its purchases by 20 billions, the aggregate demand for goods and services could rise by more or less than 20 billion, depending on whether the multiple effect of crowding out effect is larger. So if the crowding out effect larger, so it will make the government purchase will less impacted to the economy. So when the government cuts personal income taxes, it increased household take-home pay, yeah, because the more income the household would be, and household saves some of its income. Household also spend some of the tax cut on consumer goods, increase consumption spending, save the demand curve to the right. So the size of the tax cut impact on aggregate demand depend on the multiplier on crowding out effects. This also depends on household perception about the permanence of the tax change. So the effect of a tax cut on aggregate demand is also affected by household perception about the permanence of the tax change. To what extent the tax change if will take times. If the tax cut is perceived to be temporary, most of the tax cut will be saved rather than spent. So if this tax policy just temporary, the household try to retain the money, yeah, in the form of saving. Therefore, the temporary tax cut will not boost the demand much, yeah, temporary. And I think that's all in terms of the fiscal policy, yeah. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.